Hello there, and welcome back to another installment of SCP Readings, with your reader here, Gmodon. Today we're looking at SCP-979. There's a link down in the description for you to follow along as I read out loud. SCP-979 is an animated stoneware figure in the shape of a member of the family Lepordae. SCP-979 shows subtle differences from traditional members of Lepordae, including but not limited to the ability to express emotion through facial changes and posture that is congruent with typical human reactions. SCP-979 lacks proper anatomy, with its ears and back legs being too long and large, and therefore has extreme difficulty with normal movement. The behavior of SCP-979 shows some sentience, but it generally only reacts to any stimuli with fear and/or avoidance. Any other reaction must be reported to Level 3 or higher personnel. SCP-979 emits a high-frequency noise in response to any stimuli. The volume appears proportionate to SCP-979's level of distress. Extended proximity to SCP-979 causes synesthesia of all senses, typically manifesting after 4 hours and escalating over a variable period of approximately 3 weeks. Exposure to the noise produced by SCP-979 has been shown to increase the rate at which synesthesia develops. However, recordings have failed to replicate the effect, and as such, the noise is not believed to be the primary cause. The first sense to be affected is typically hearing, although the reason is unknown. Humans exposed to SCP-979 tend to describe a whispering, rustling voice associated with the sensation of touch, and will avoid any physical contact with anything as much as possible. Typically, this first effect appears approximately 10 minutes after exposure. Within 1 week, exposure to SCP-979 causes synesthesia in at least 3 senses, although which 3 tends to be dependent on the specific person. A level of psychosis appears to develop at this stage, although whether or not it is from mental disturbance of the synesthesia or something else is unknown. The only recorded personnel, hereby labeled SCP-979-V1, exposed to SCP-979 describe symptoms similar to high anxiety, most notably the recurring thought of an imagined entity almost touching their skin at all times, especially so during nights, in which the exposed personnel reporting a belief of the imagined entity running any number of limbs up and down their body just above skin contact. After the passing of approximately 2 weeks, synesthesia caused by SCP-979 spreads to all senses, although certain senses appear to be less intrusive than others, depending on the specific patient. In SCP-979-V1, the previous recurring thought of the imagined entity became an obsession, and SCP-979-V1 regularly attempted to attack the imagined entity with apparently little success. All inquiries on the appearance of the imagined entity were unsuccessful. SCP-979-V1 attempted suicide approximately blank times during this period and developed severe insomnia. In addition, SCP-979-V1 described hallucinations of the aforementioned entity now almost licking their skin, along with other types of contact such as kissing, stroking, and redacted. At no point does SCP-979-V1 describe actually being touched. Within 3 weeks, the synesthesia develops fully in all the senses. SCP-979-V1 had extreme difficulty dealing with any kind of sensory information, mind regularly blocking out senses due to overload. SCP-979-V1 displayed behavior similar to SCP-979 itself and appeared to attempt interaction with hallucinations before falling into a catatonic state. Afterwards, no other progression was shown until a period of 5 weeks in which the subject was discovered with a large gash in his torso, organs having been pulled from the body cavity. It is unknown how such a wound came to SCP-979-V1. SCP-979 was found in Blank, Chile. SCP-979 was featured in an exhibition by an artist under the pseudonym of The Kind Man in the Blank Museum. After news reports of hallucinations and an outbreak of synesthesia, SCP-979 was placed under Foundation custody. There's just something that I really enjoy about this SCP, how it causes those around it to slowly go insane from the amount of synesthesia that they experience. It even seems to the point that suicide becomes an option for these people, and that's a scary thought that this living stone rabbit can create such an effect on people. One part in particular that makes me curious is it's mentioned that SCP-979-V1 started having the same behavior of SCP-979 after about 3 weeks of constant synesthesia. It really makes me wonder if this SCP has synesthesia of its own, and it's simply projecting the constant pain it's in onto other people around it. Or perhaps there's another reason entirely it does what it does. So that's the great thing about SCPs. There's always some questions left to keep you wondering. So that has been SCP-979. Thank you for joining me on this reading. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.